If you travel in or live in the southeastern part of the United States, you're probably well aware that crappie fishing is the most popular fishing sport in that part of the country. And most of the popularity centers around the mecca of all crappie fishing. It's Grenada Lake, Mississippi, and we'll tell you why on this week's show. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southwest region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors Southwest.
I don't know if you're aware or not, but the largest crappie that swim in United States waters swim in the Magnolia State of Mississippi. I also don't know if you're aware that the largest crappie that swim in the state of Mississippi are in Grenada Lake. This lake is situated just east of I-55, the north-south corridor that runs from Jackson all the way up to Memphis. It's a flood control lake controlled by the Corps of Engineers, and it grows some absolute super-sized crappie. On today's show, we're going to launch the NITRO Z8 out into Grenada Lake. First time I've ever been here, do a little exploring. Bo Hudson, who guides on this lake, is going to be joining us and showing us around a little bit. And we'll show you a fantastic technique that a lot of the people here around Mississippi use to locate and catch a bunch of these oversized crappie here at Grenada Lake. It's going to be a lot of fun. In the meantime, we're taking you around your local area for your weekly fishing and lake reports from our expert team of insider reporters. Hey, I'm glad you're with us today. You're in for a treat the next half hour, but right now we get the whole thing started back at the FSN studios with your weekend planner.
Hi everyone, the fishing outlook appears much better for Saturday this weekend than for Sunday. Overall, the Solunar tables are indicating excellent game fish activity on Saturday, with peak hours beginning early at 4:47 a.m. and again at 5:11 p.m. Look for the sun to rise at 6:55 and set at 8:04, and evenings will feature a moon that is 60% visible. We'll be right back with freshwater and coastal fishing updates from around the region. Plus, Wally Marshall stops by to talk crappie fishing on this week's Ask the Pro feature. Stay with us.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. By Lew's, setting a new standard of fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. And by Stren Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability.
I got one. Oh, that's a decent fish. Come here, buddy. There we go. I got one of them. Okay, there's a start. Welcome back, everybody. We've made it out on the lake, and there's a good crappie to start it off for you, right there. Well, we're on Grenada, and crappie have to be 12 inches long here to be kept. If that doesn't tell you how serious the big crappie fishing is along these lakes here, but particularly here on Grenada. I mentioned the I-55 corridor, starting at the very top. There's Sardis is the first big one. Then you've got Enid, then you've got Grenada, and then Ross Barnett. All of these are flood control lakes. We'll talk some more about this later, but the water here is pretty off color. If you're used to fishing clear water, this is pretty muddy in here. But the fish live here, they're used to it, they swim here, they eat here, and they will definitely bite. So that gets you started right there on a big Grenada crappie. That's not one of the giants, but it's certainly a really good crappie where I come from, that's for sure. We'll put him in the live well and get you set up. Grenada's 35,000 acres, and I'll tell you this, there's only 48 miles of shoreline, and what that tells you is it's not a lot of shoreline features, not a lot of creeks and stuff coming in. It's got two major arms and one major river that feeds down the middle of it. In our next segment, we'll tell you the parts of the lake and what to look for if you're going to catch some crappie. Right here on Lake Grenada, let's get you some more local fishing and lake reports from our insider reporter in your area.
Hey, this old hot Oklahoma summer's got the sweat pouring, it's got the water temperatures hot, but you know what? There's a really cool crappie bite going on. Mike Taylor from Okmulgee and grandson Colton have really been wearing them out. Mike's going to tell you about it.
What we're doing, they've got in the shade of these docks, and you can duplicate this about anywhere. These fish are going to get up around these docks. And we've got this regular baby shad up at the top, Bobby Garland baby shad, and the brand new itty bit down at the bottom. If they're real finicky in this heat, they don't second guess this little bait. They're going right after it. I'm just going to drop it down in the shade of this dock. There we go. Kind of a smallish one, but see, there they go again. I've got this baby shad that we normally catch them on in the spring and the fall. They're opting to take this little tiny bait over this one almost every time. And we think that maybe 70–80% of the fish that they eat are this little tiny size, so they have no hesitation about grabbing it. There's a nice one. Same thing, passing by the big bait and going for the little one. Awesome. In the heat of the summer, this will last all summer long in the shades of these docks.
Hey, that Colton is a real fishing machine. I saw him really put it on his grandpa, and he's got this good fishing tip for you.
One thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
There's one. Feels like a good pull. There he comes. Oh, nice black looking crappie right here. That is a beautiful fish. Hey, that's a good specimen right there. That's a darker colored one. There's a good Grenada crappie for you right there. Hitting my Bobby Garland slab doctors is what they're biting right now. All right, we're gonna take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're gonna try to do some more of this. Got a lot of wind, got a few thunderstorms coming up, but got some fish moving. So you folks, be sure, sign up to follow our Twitter feed. We're giving away lots of great prizes, and we're putting all the big fish photos that come in, all the lake records that get broken, all the fishing news gets put up first on our Twitter feed. Join Twitter for free and follow us. You'll be the first to know all the fishing news. Well, we're just watching this setup here. We've got a good spread. We're spider rigging today on Grenada. And I want to talk to you a little bit about where we're fishing. Well, that's a bite right there. I want to talk to you about where we're fishing and what we're doing. But first, let me see about, oh, that's a good crappie. Oh yeah, that's another big one. That's another big one. Get in this net. Yeah, man, look at this. Holy cow, these fish are huge in this lake. Look at that. Good grief, look at the belly on that crappie. And look at the mouth. I can almost put my hand in that crappie's mouth, it's so big. Man, I tell you, we're gonna just slap him on the scale just to give you some idea of how much these crappie weigh. I've caught a couple of these already. But first, let me tell you this. The Yalabusha River feeds this lake. Most of the year, these fish stay out off the river channel. So this channel makes a nice ledge, and they pull little crankbaits and they spider rig and they long line up and down that ledge, and that's where they catch them most of the year. The spring, they move up shallow to spawn, and they'll get all the way up in a foot of water. In the fall, they'll move up shallower as well when the water cools, but the rest of the year, you gotta go find that river channel out there, just troll up and down it, and that's where these big boys live. Let's stick that on the scale right quick. Well, 2 pounds and 3 ounces, it looks like what that crappie weighs. So that's a good solid 2 pound slab right there. And that's, I'm telling you, that's an average fish for this lake right here. All right, we're putting them in the live well. So in this bad boy goes. And that gives you some idea of how you can catch them. You really need to get you some spider rigging long poles, 14 footers and 11 footers. I'll tell you about that a little bit later on the Academy Right Stuff. Back to more fishing reports for you right now.
Hi folks, this week's Lone Star Lakes is brought to you once again by the Mad Dog Moore Memorial Bass Tournament. Held in honor of a fallen officer, on Lake Fork, September 12th at Oak Ridge Marina, and all the proceeds benefit the Shriners Hospitals for Children. It is a team bass format, and you're invited to come out and fish. Now this week, we had a little break from the heat in Texas, but it's still summer and summertime patterns still prevail. One of my favorite little lakes right now is Lake Nakanish, and drop shots are working on Nakanish on the points and points of the timber in about 15 to 22 feet of water. Use a 4-inch ribworm or fry in either plum or Junebug colors. Crappie fishermen, you'll want to go to Palestine. You can fish under the bridges and catch all the crappie you want on live minnows or crappie jigs in a cinnamon head, teal body, or chartreuse or white. And finally, catfish on Livingston are still off the island, fairly shallow. Use your prepared baits for the channels and flatheads. Use your cut baits for the blue cats. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by the Mad Dog Moore Memorial Bass Tournament, September 12th, Oak Ridge Marina, Lake Fork. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. He's on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, it has been hot, but the good news is that the weather's starting to moderate along the Texas coast. The better news is that with each passing day, we move closer to fall and what should be some awesome fishing. Now, until the water temperature is impacted by cooler temperatures, look for speckled trout in Sabine and the Galveston Bay system to remain around deeper shell. The south end of Sabine has been best, while East Galveston Bay and along the Houston Ship Channel has been productive. West Matagorda's grass beds are holding both trout and redfish, plus the reds are starting to school up. For those looking for triple tail action, try sight casting off the beachfront out of Sabine or blind casting around structure using the slip cork in West Matagorda Bay. There are a number of smaller triple tail, but larger ones have also been caught. Now the deep shell in San Antonio Bay, as well as around the mouths of back lakes on Matagorda Island and St. Joe Island, have been productive. Play your tides to position yourself. The upper Laguna Madre continues to hold good water and give up fish on live croaker or topwaters early. Nueces Bay is also giving up some quality fish on live bait. Now patterns remain static from Port Mansfield to Port Isabel. Drift the sandy potholes in grass beds with your choice of bait. All the Texas jetties are producing, as is the surf when winds allow. This weekend, Saturday has a double tide schedule of 2 high and 2 low tides. This Sunday has a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors. Introducing the XI5 for ultimate boat control. By Fort Worth Nissan. Fox Sports Outdoors is powered by Fort Worth Nissan. And by NITRO Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made.
Bite it. There's a bite. There's a bite right there. Oh yeah, that's another one of those good pulls right there. Oh, good one. Good one. Let me get this net. Got him. Oh yeah. Man, look at that pig, will you? Oh, wow. Well, there's another Grenada crappie for you. Let me talk to you just a minute about, by the way, that's a big slab slayer right there, Bobby Garland. Black and yellow is that color. That's the color he said really works well here. If you want to come do some of this here at Grenada or at Enid or at Sardis or at Lake Washington, all these are home of huge crappie, then you can do that by contacting Bo Hudson and Brad Chappell at their guide service. They've got a Facebook page. They don't have a website, they've got a Facebook page. So we'll put the information up on your screen right now. You can book a guide trip and they'll come spider rigging, long lining, pulling crankbaits, whatever they have to do to put you on some of these fantastic, in this case, Grenada crappie. Now I want to tell you one more story. There was a huge crappie caught just this past spring. Late in the spring, they had a tournament here. And a 10-year-old boy, great story, caught a crappie that weighed, I think, an ounce or maybe 2 ounces short of 4 pounds. The boy that caught it, his mom was killed in a tornado here somewhere in this area not too long ago. And the mom actually sheltered the kids with her body, and then she was killed. Very tragic story. This boy that was saved by his mom actually caught the gigantic fish and won a few $1,000s in this tournament here on Grenada with that crappie that weighed nearly 4 pounds, and that's a picture of what that crappie looked like right there. All right, I want to show you something. See that gold colored line right there? That is the new Stren Crappie Mono, and it is the thinnest, strongest, most abrasion resistant crappie monofilament line that's ever been invented. These people have put a lot of technology into this, a lot of research. It comes in clear and it comes in this high-vis gold color. But this stuff is unbelievable, and that gold color lets you watch your line and you can see your strikes. Look for it on your tackle store shelf. It's the Stren Crappie Mono in either the high-vis gold color or the clear. All right, let's get you some more fishing and lake reports from your local area.
Hey friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox, Louisiana Outdoor Fishing Report. I tell you what, this week I want to be doing the report by myself. Captain Kevin's out there in the water. He just gave me a call. He said, we got 3 boats out there. He said, one of them's targeting redfish. They're doing really well. They're actually fishing the Black Bayou Marsh. They're catching the redfish on spoons. And they said the vegetation's really bad, the water's real low, but they've already got their 20 reds in the boat. Now they're just catching them, throwing them back. The other 2 boats, they're targeted speckled trout. One of them's in Black Lake, the other one's in West Cove. Both of them doing really well. They're catching them on live shrimp under a poppet cork. One of them said he started out this morning throwing nothing but the Kelly Wiggler with a 1/4 ounce Rockport Rattler jig. He said he picked up about 15 or 18. He said once it got a little slow, they started putting on the live shrimp. They're doing real well again. As far as the bass fishing scene goes, got a real good call last night from a couple of friends of mine. They're fishing up at Lake Darbone. Hadn't had a report from up there in a pretty good while. They said the bass were schooling everywhere yesterday. They caught them on rattle traps. They was throwing the chrome and a blackback, a chrome and a blueback. They said early in the morning, late afternoon, before the bass start schooling, they're catching them next to the high driller. They're just going along there throwing little popping bugs and also buzz baits. They're doing really well on Lake Darbone. That's a good sign. The other report came from Toledo Bend, where Joe Jocelyn says Cajun right now, Carolina rigging in 20, 25 foot of water. Catch all the bass you want on the south end of the lake.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Tracker Boats. It's more than just a boat, it's a tracker. By Costa Sunglasses, see what's out there. By Mercury Marine, official outboard of Fox Sports Outdoors. And by Lowrance Electronics. Find, navigate, dominate.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment, where viewers get expert insights from professional anglers. This week's question comes from Jeffrey, who asks, do crappies stay near bridge pilings all year long? If so, what is the best way to catch them? For the answer, we checked with expert crappie fisherman Wally Marshall.
That was a great question there, man. I'm talking about, I love to fish bridge pilings year round. And yes, crappie do hang on bridge pilings year round because it has that vertical structure, a lot of shade, especially in the summertime. Early morning, I'm talking right at daylight, you can slaughter the crappie up until about 9:30 every day. In the summer, wintertime months, they're there too. They're down near the bottom. What I like to do is use my side imaging, and I'll go down along those columns, and I can shoot to the side and see which columns has the crappie on it and the exact depth they're hanging out. Great question, man.
Thanks, Wally. If you have something to ask one of the pros, simply visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now it's time for the Costa Catch of the Week, in which someone is going to win a brand new pair of sunglasses.
Hey, it's time for someone to win a free pair of Costa sunglasses in the Costa Catch of the Week contest. This week's winner is Kevin Smith of Burleson, Texas, showing an 8-pound, 15-ounce largemouth bass he caught out of Alvarado Lake in Texas. And as a bonus, here are 2 other big Alvarado Lake bass, one from Dean Skinner of Alvarado with an 8.8, and one from Ryan Stagg of Midlothian, Texas with a 7.4 largemouth bass. These 2 are not winners, but they are great fish nonetheless. If you'd like to be our next Coast to Catch of the Week winner, your chance begins when you go to foxsportsoutdoors.com, and on the right-hand side of the front page, clicking on the Coast to Catch of the Week area, send us your big fish photo and you could be our next winner. And you can see all of the Costa frame and lens styles at their website by going back to the front page of our site, clicking on the Costa logo. You can see all of the great styles there, including the one I was wearing on this week's episode called Cortez. Next up on the Academy Right Stuff, you'll need some specialized gear if you want to go out and spider rig for some of these big crappie like we did this week. And it begins with the Lew's Wally Marshall Troll Tech trolling rod. These are spider rigging rods, long lining, and pulling crankbaits anywhere from 11 to 14 feet long is what you'll need. Three other things. You're going to need a long handled net, probably even longer than this one, to reach way out there and net those crappie with these long rods. You'll need a good rod holder. That's a Be Ready, but also Atwood makes some good ones. Wally Marshall makes some good ones as well. And finally, you're going to need a windsock, something to slow your boat drift down as you're drifting across these bays, creeks, and down these creek channels. Your trolling motor will do a great job of it, but it's much easier if you'll just slow yourself down by throwing out a windsock. Here's my attempt at writing poetry. I have seen heroes, but not the flashy ones. Not the kind who can dunk one-handed or sing a country tune or sink a 50-foot putt or build a computer empire. Not the kind who bask in adoration, not the pampered who are praised. I have seen heroes firsthand, in person, up close, but not dancers of dance or singers of songs, not athletes or businessmen in suits. Real heroes who give not get, who never bask in the spotlight, never cash the big check, never hear the crowds roar, yet whose gifts matter, mean something, make a difference. Heroes who can hold a child's hand, who can be the dad who wasn't there or the mom who didn't care, who can put themselves in harm's way for others and just say they're doing their job, who can place someone else's needs above their own. They're policemen, firemen, hospital workers, social workers, soldiers. They're all around us, but unsung. Yes, I know heroes, but not the ones you might think. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our trip to beautiful Grenada Lake, home of the giant crappie in Mississippi. And I want to just give you some idea of how big these crappie are. And this is just a portion of what we actually caught today. These crappie in this lake are just absolutely the biggest crappie I've ever seen anywhere. And I've done a whole bunch of crappie fishing in my life, but I don't think I've ever seen this many big fish in one location. And I wanted to just give you a little look at what some of these huge crappie look like. And again, they're all over 2 pounds and they go up to 4 pounds in this lake. What a fantastic place to come fishing. If you want to book a guide trip, call Brad Chappell or Bo Hudson, the phone number that we gave you a little earlier. Hey, don't forget that our show will be on next Thursday, 5:30 p.m. and a repeat airing Saturday morning at 7:30. And don't forget, our latest episode is always up 24/7 on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. And below that, you can always catch up on our past episodes by clicking on past episodes and more video here. Don't forget to follow us on our Twitter feed for great prize giveaways and all the latest fishing news and information. From Grenada Lake, Mississippi, until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye.